So welcome everyone to Research Night and our presentation, which will be talking about food sharing futures and sharing insights from the SHARECITY project, which is based at the Department of Geography in Trinity College, Dublin. So just to begin by giving you an introduction to SHARECITY, it's a European Research Council funded project, which has been running for 5 years and led by Professor Anna Davis. SHARECITY has been focused on the practices and sustainability potential of ICT-mediated food sharing in urban contexts. So food sharing may be a new concept for some of you, so just to share a definition, food sharing is about the sharing practices around food, including collective cooking and eating practices, as well as community gardening and redistributing surplus food. So for example, saving food that's going to go to waste and redistributing it in our communities, as well as seed sharing, community composting, and more broadly, sharing the skills, tools, and knowledges around food. And if you'd like any further information about the research project, if you would like to explore our database, which lists many different food sharing initiatives across the world, including in Dublin, and if you would like to see any other research outputs from the project, please do check out our website, which is sharecity.ie. So SHARECITY's research, which has spanned 9 different cities and involved in-depth research and interviews with many different food sharing organizations and other actors, has found that food sharing really contributes meaningful sustainability and justice benefits around food in cities. So the activities of food shares really help to deal with many of the environmental issues of food in city environments, as well as help deal with some of the justice issues around people's access to food. But the research of SHARECITY has also found that food sharing and food sharers face many challenges, including governance challenges, which are basically challenges arising from planning and policy approaches in cities, which often result in a regulatory mismatch, whereby food regulations in cities are often, and policy and planning is often focused on rather commercial and big food organizations and activities, which leads food sharing initiatives to be overlooked and under-resourced, as well as really overburdened because they're dealing with regulations that are really not fit for purpose and are rather tailored not to their activities, but rather to the activities of larger commercial food entities. SHARECITY also found that food sharers face a challenge in engaging with policymakers because, you know, there's no Department of Food in cities. There's often no council for food that's participated by policymakers. And this really means that food sharers have no go-to person in a city to discuss the challenges that they're facing, which means that dealing with these challenges is quite difficult and means that the sustainability and justice benefits of food sharing activities are really curtailed. And these issues have also been explored by SHARECITY in collaborative, multi-stakeholder and international workshops, such as Sharing Futures. And again, if you'd like any further information on the findings of that workshop and the food sharing futures work more broadly, as I said, please do go to our website and you'll find more information there. So in response to some of these challenges that SHARECITY uncovered in its work, the project decided to develop scenarios of possible futures of what food sharing and urban food could look like in our cities in 2050, and visualize these different types of futures in collaboration with an artist as a novel means or new means of engagement on these issues of sustainability and food sharing and urban food. And then use these visualizations to facilitate dialogue and reflection with different groups, such as young people and policymakers, on issues within current approaches to sustainable futures for our cities, in particular in relation to food and food sharing. So without further ado, I would like to share with you this work that we've been doing and our visualizations in collaboration with an artist on food sharing futures for 2050. And I hope you enjoyed this short animation video. Welcome to our first scenario for a city of the future. We have a space that used to be a community garden, but is now boarded up and for sale. We see people grabbing a quick bite to eat on their way to work. There are offices and commercial food spaces such as cafes, and some community gardening going on, but squeezed into a really tight spot. We have City Hall, separated from the public by a red barrier. And finally, we have citizens protesting on food sustainability and food justice issues. Welcome to our second scenario of what our cities could look like in the future. We have a community garden with lots of people participating in growing activities. We see people going about their daily activities in this future city, and someone about to catch the electric bus. Here is the community kitchen and hub and food swap, with lots of people enjoying food grown and cooked in their community, and even some rooftop beekeeping going on. We see the community orchard with its community composting and seed bank. And here's City Hall, with the mayor and citizens collaborating on important decisions for their city. Finally, we see people enjoying public life and meetings on the public square. Here is our final future city scenario. We see a high-tech private vertical farm where food is grown in a lab being opened by the mayor in a public ceremony. There is a food justice truck with people lining up to access food. We see a private social dining space, Foodies, where people can pay to enjoy food with each other. And someone is using a vending machine to pick up some pizza. There is a natural capital experience where citizens pay to enjoy some greenery in the city. And finally, we see City Hall, completely closed off to the public by barriers and observed by CCTV. So thank you for joining us for Research Night and hearing insights from the SHARECITY project. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the food sharing futures in the survey below. We'd love to hear from you. And also feel free to explore our other research outputs, such as the Share It Toolkit, and you'll find the YouTube link for that below. Thank you and enjoy the rest of Research Night. Goodbye.